Hello and welcome to Hexed Encountered. I'm Joe. It is Solitaire Sunday and it is time to play some Carrier Battle Group Solitaire. This is from Decision Games and is designed by Joseph Miranda. And as I mentioned in the two previous videos for this game, I did a first look and a game setup. This was originally in the Modern War magazine number 14, and this is the deluxe edition with a mounted map board and some updated art and so on. So our mission, and this was detailed as well in the setup video, so if you have not checked that out, it might be worth taking a look at. But our mission is sea control. And all of the missions are, all of the missions, I guess, in the game, or scenarios, are mapped out here on these lines with the dots, right? Each dot is a kind of a movement along the track to get to the various objectives over here and here. Iceland, up here you can see the Barents Sea Transit, Greenland Sea Transit, etc., right? So we have everything from down here, which is more of a ground support area down here in the Central Front in Germany, to Baltic, Murmansk, all kinds of stuff, right? But ours is on the blue track here. And this is the marker for our Carrier Battle Group. And the actual ships in the group are up here, aside from the carrier itself. The carrier is displayed here. And so these are the ships that we have with us. Some of them are equipped with cruise missiles. And the cruise missile itself is underneath the marker for the ship. You have logistics points that you use to buy things. I spent all of them. You have a game turn marker here, victory points marker, and an end of mission to mark the end of this mission, which is 7 turns long. So we are ready to begin play, and I don't want to do any more preliminaries here. So let's get, one other thing to mention is we have Soviet battle groups, 2 of them. One here, one here. I did mess up the roll. This was mentioned in a comment to the setup video, with it being a 15 station long route here. I should have rolled 3 dice. I rolled 2. Ultimately, it doesn't matter all that much because none of them, I mean, it would have maybe perhaps pushed them a little further along the track, but this way we can interact with this first group earlier rather than later, perhaps. But anyway, our Soviet battle groups, just like our battle group, they have 1 counter on the map, and the actual constituent vessels in there are up here, and they're hidden. So we don't know what they are. We don't know the composition of their 2 battle groups. We'll find that out as we move up the track. Okay, so the first phase of the turn is the intelligence phase. And the way this works is we will choose a ship to make an intelligence attempt, and then we add it up. We add up the value for based on what's in this table, right? So your EW value of ship. So if we look at our ship counters, we grab our Aegis cruiser here. Now at the very bottom left, you see that number 5. That is the electronic warfare rating. So right in this corner right here. So this is the best ship we have. Looking at the values, we have a 5, we have a 4. 2, 3, 3, 2. So we will use our Aegis cruiser for this. Now we don't have an electronic warfare crew on the carrier. Our carrier CIC value right now, which is right here, it's a 4. So if it's 3, 4, we do get a +1. So that gives us a number of 6, which doesn't really change anything for us. So we're in this column right here. So we'll roll 1 die. I'll just use this one right here. I may use the tower, but for now we'll just roll on the board. We got a 1. Now a 1 is SI, which is signals intercepted, raise Soviet alert level by 1 level. So that's a bad roll. So our Soviet alert level is right here. We're going to move it from 2 to 3. And that impacts the number of incident chits we'll draw here pretty soon. So we go to the logistics phase next, and we don't have any damage or replenishment or cargo moves to do. So, and the other thing to note is typically, there are a couple of exceptions, but typically if you do a logistics phase action, it means you can't move that turn. So we will be skipping that, and now we go to the U.S. Navy ship movement phase. So we can move it based on the movement factor of our battle group. Sorry, I'm looking for the table that shows us how to figure that out. Okay, I will find this. Okay, yeah, there is no table. There is a movement procedure. So each ship movement phase, you may move your carrier battle group up to the printed speed of its slowest ship. To do so, move it up the number of spaces. So we would be moving in this direction because we're here in the UK at the base, and we're going to move up in this direction towards Denmark Strait. So it looks like our slowest ship is a 4. The movement factor, let's look at our frigate here. Movement factor is in the bottom right. It's the arrow, and that's a 4. So that and our destroyers are all 4s. We have a guided missile cruiser, that's a 6, and our Aegis cruiser is a 4. So 4 is obviously our slowest one. So we're going to move 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're up here now. Okay. Next is the incident phase. So we have a cup here. I'm not going to look in here. I'm going to draw out 3 chits. All right. So this is what they look like unrevealed. Right. And we have 3 of them. Now we also have an incident table. So here's the incident table. Okay. So let's look at what we've got. So we have Soviet recon, we have contact standoff weapon, and we have Soviet aggressiveness. Okay, so we'll take these one at a time. I'm just going to put these down here for the moment. So let's see. We've got recon. Let's find recon. Soviet reinforcement. Recon. Okay, if any Navy carrier battle group is currently located in or adjacent to a choke point or objective space, then increase Soviet alert level by 1. That is not the case, so we will dispense with that one. Then we have Soviet contact standoff weapon. Okay, contact stand. Here it is. Roll 1d6 and draw that number of Soviet standoff units. If the space where the incident has occurred is farther from the nearest Soviet base than the range of any of these units, return those units to the pool, only retaining the units with sufficient range to reach that space. Engage in combat with these standoff weapons during the combat phase. Okay, so standoff weapons are aircraft and missiles. Now, the nearest Soviet base is all the way over here in Murmansk, I believe, or Baltic. We have 2. So we have this one here, which I guess is in Estonia, right? This is Lithuania. I think this is Estonia, and that's Latvia. So it's in Estonia, 12. So I guess if we follow this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, well, it's 12, right? And then up this way, we're 4. So that would be 16. I don't know that they have any. Well, we have to draw them first. So we got to roll a die. And we rolled a 1. So I'm going to pick 1 here, right? It's a Soviet standoff, as you can see. Flip it over, and it's a glitch. So the glitch means that it is not, it's a bogey. Or not a bogey. It's a gremlin. There's nothing there. So that actually goes back into our pool. And so that's this incident. So that one is done as well. Now we have Soviet aggressiveness. So here's aggressiveness. Raise the level by 1. So it's going to be 4. Then choose one Soviet battle group at random, roll 1d6, and move that Soviet battle group the number of spaces toward the nearest U.S. Navy carrier battle group per 13 Soviet ship movement. If there are no Soviet battle groups, ignore. Well, we have 2. So I'm going to roll the die. And we got a 4. We're going to move this to 4. And so 4, 1, 2, 3, he's going to move into the same area. I think they have to stop there. And based on, let's see, Soviet ship movement, they may be required to move, yes, by incident marker. Player must move the designated number of spaces. However, an SBG must cease movement if it enters a space with a U.S. Navy unit or if it enters a Soviet base. It doesn't stop in a choke point. The choke point are these red boxes. So we're going to, so that finishes this one. We're going to move to the combat phase next, right? Because here's our turn sequence. So we did intelligence, we skipped logistics, we did our movement phase, incident phase. Now we go to the launch phase. But we're not going to do this because we're already in the same spot there, same space. So combat phase, now refer to the tactical routine if your carrier battle group's in the same space as any Soviet units, or if any aircraft or cruise missiles you launched during the preceding launch phase are in the same space as a Soviet unit. All right, so we're going to do that right now. So we're going to have our combat. This will be our first combat event here. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to reveal the contents of Soviet Battle Group 1, which is the bigger of the two. So I'm going to flip all these over, and I'll go through them here in a moment, but I just wanted to flip them over so they are revealed. They remain revealed for the rest of the game, per rule, okay? So we'll start here. We have a guided missile submarine. We have a guided missile destroyer. We have another guided missile submarine. We have another destroyer. And then we also have another guided missile sub and another guided missile sub. So we got a lot of subs here. We have four submarines and 2 destroyers, okay? No glitches, unfortunately, for me. They're all real. All right, so now we move to contact. So there is a contact table on here, right here, and you roll based on this, okay? Die roll modifiers. If you roll a 1, there's no combat, okay? But it's hard to roll. It's hard to get a 1 because of your die roll modifiers, right? So the CIC leadership value, that's a 4 right now. The CAG leadership value, okay, if any U.S. Navy ships are involved. So we just get the CIC modifier. The EW factor of 1 U.S. Navy ship or air unit, not missile. Use the unit with the highest EW. So that would be our Aegis. So that's a 5. Then we don't have that. Minus Soviet alert level, which is 4. So we have +9, 4 and 5 on the U.S. side. Minus 4 is 5. Minus EW factor of 1 Soviet ship. So looking at their EWs, their highest is a 2. So that makes it a +3, and -1 if it's in a Soviet base, which is not. So it's a +3. So we're going to probably have tactical edge here. And that rolled really far, but it's a 2. 2 + 3 is 4. Greater than 1 is U.S. Navy gets tactical edge. Okay. Now, one thing having tactical edge lets you do is break off from combat if you don't want to do combat, but let's do it because we probably want to. So now we can do, we go through our tactical routine here. And for the battle procedure, we deploy on the tactical display. So the tactical display is over here, okay? And we've got an inner and outer zone for the US Navy and the Soviets, right? So there's a table that you roll on to place the Soviets, and I'll do that in a second. The side that does not have tactical edge has to set up first. In this case, that is the Soviets. So we have to set them up. Okay, so our deployment table's right here on the map, and I've stacked the subs and the destroyers together. So basically, you can see here, you roll a die, And standoff weapons, these carry missiles, but I don't know if that means they fire them automatically or what here. It doesn't really say. All types of Soviet units and U.S. Navy standoff units are only allowed to fire. We don't have any standoff units. So they didn't fire any missiles, so I'm going to assume that means they don't fire missiles. So they should all they'll all be rolling on the warship. So I'll try to roll this close to so we got a 5, which is outer. So we'll put the sub in the outer zone. And we got a 6, outer zone. A 3, which is inner zone. A 1, that's inner zone. Now the destroyers, 1, and a 5. So it's 3 and 3, basically. Now we can set up the US how we wish to have them set up. So I will put our carrier, the Nimitz, which is right here. This should probably be in there. I just didn't put it in there. We're going to put them in the outer zone. For reasons you can probably guess. We will put our cruise missile equipped ships also in the outer zone. And so those 3 have cruise missiles. These do not. And we'll do like that. Okay. Now we've got our tactical display set up. Okay, so we would fire first. There are 3. Well, let's start at the beginning. Okay, there are 3. Outer zone goes first, and the side with tactical edge goes first within that. So we're going to do outer zone, US, then the Soviets, then inner zone, US, then the Soviets. There are 3 phases for the outer zone, rather. So you have an anti-air phase, which we don't need to implement because I did not launch any aircraft from the carrier. I did not fire any cruise missiles. So this one will be basically surface combat, and then further on, when we get to Soviet Battle Group 2, perhaps, then I will probably launch my standoff weapons and see if we can attack them with our aircraft and cruise missiles. Okay, so we skip that. Then we go to anti-surface fire. Now, we do have surface units on both sides, and you can target them, and you say which ship is firing. So from the US side, we have right here, we have a guided missile cruiser, and the number we're looking at is the 5 in the middle at the top. Okay, this is a nuclear cruiser, CGN, guided missile cruiser, and it's got an anti-surface value of 5. It also has the ability to fire cruise missiles and does have some, but I didn't launch them. That's considered a standoff weapon. So we have a 5 as our firing power. So I'm going to put my dice tower in here. Maybe like this. Okay, now you roll 1 die for each of your firepower. So in the case of our cruiser, we have 5. So we're going to roll 5 dice, and a hit is a 5 or a 6. So it's kind of a bucket of dice combat. But a hit, you then have to resolve what the hit does. So we'll start by rolling 5 dice. And I have 5 blue dice here. And we got 2 5s. So 2 hits and 3 misses. So now on our hit table, we have our hit table right here. Okay. And target type, in this case, I forgot to designate that. It's the destroyer because that's the only legal target. The submarines are in C of this firing phase, as you might expect, because you use different weapons to attack submarines than you do to attack surface ships. So target type is surface ship. Okay. So if we roll a 3 or a 4, we'll damage them. If we roll a 5, we'll cripple them. And if we roll 6, they get an explosion, right? The only thing that'll be bad will be a 1 or a 2. Okay. Well, withdraw, which it won't be able to do right away because it's the only surface ship. So both the other cruiser and the destroyer will also be attacking it. So I'm going to roll 1 die and see what we get here. And we got a 6, which is the critical hit. So it is exploded and destroyed. So I'm going to remove this. And we've killed it, which means we don't have to resolve the rest of the fire by outer zone for surface because, oh wait, we can target this one. Sorry. So we can target this one right here. That's what we'll do next. We'll attack it with our other cruiser, which has an attack value of 4. So we'll roll 4 dice. And no hits. So that was bad. And now the last attack will come from our destroyer. Right here, our DDG. He only gets 2 attacks. So we'll take 2 dice. And we got 1 hit. So now we have to resolve that hit. So we'll take that and roll and get a 4. And a 4 is damage. Okay, so damage. Aircraft, missile, and ship units incur damage points. Sorry, a little too close to the camera. Which are represented by placing the designated quantity of damage point markers. Okay, so if it equals any unit's defense value, the unit sinks or is shot down and eliminated. So we did hit it with 1 damage. So these are the damage counters right here. You got damage level 1 on that side, 2 on the other. It goes all the way up to, I think, 4. So he's going to get 1 damage. Now his defense is a 2. So 1 more damage on him and he will sink. But that completes our outer zone. So now we have to do the Soviets. Oops, I messed that up. Okay, so we're going to return this guy because outer zone, I guess, can't attack inner zone. It says outer zone combat. All units in the outer zone must resolve combat. Units in each side's inner zone do not participate and cannot be affected. Okay, so all types of Soviet units and US Navy standoff units are only allowed to fire in one of 3 phases. So we don't have any stand-ups. US Navy warships can fire once in each phase, A, B, and C. Okay, so we can only attack this guy. So he's sunk, and he was sunk by our cruiser. So now the second cruiser doesn't have an attack because we can't attack this destroyer because he's in the inner zone. But we can attack the 2 submarines here in phase C. Now submarines, the attack value for submarines is different. So in this case, with our Aegis cruiser here, it's the top right number. It's a 3. Now it's the same number. The destroyer here has the same number, 3. So I'm going to roll 3 dice and no hits. And then we're attacking, let's say, number 4. It doesn't really matter. This is the other one. This is the destroyer. He got 2 hits. 2 5s is 2 hits. So now we'll roll for damage for the first hit. That's a 5. A 5 is crippled. So reduce all of the target attack factors, EW, and movement to 0. Okay, and it would also eliminate air units and cruise missiles. Okay. So that's what the first hit did. So he's in rough shape now. And a second crippled, my guess is a second cripple might damage him. A unit that's crippled again after already being crippled is eliminated. So we've killed this submarine as well. And that ends the US attack phase. Now the Soviets, and I removed the wrong one again. Come on, Joe. All right, we'll use this guy. Doesn't matter, they're the same. All right, so they have 3 ships in their inner zone, but only 1 left in their outer zone. So now we would do the Soviets' outer zone. They have 1 sub left, its attack is a 4, so it will target the Nimitz. Why not, right? And I'll roll 4 red dice. And, oh my lord, that's 3 hits. Well, actually, Soviet target priorities. Let's look at that real quick. So here we have a table that shows you what their priorities are. So we have submarine priorities, anti-submarine, but we don't have any. So if you look down here, it goes missile, air, CV. So they would attack the carrier, which is what you would expect, right? It's the most valuable target out there. And that can go back over there. So we have 3 hits. Now, the carrier, of course, has its own column here in the thing here. So we're going to roll for our hits. So let me roll the first die. We got a 3, and a 3 is eliminate 1 aircraft and hangar at random, then reduce hangar by 1. So we take damage to the hangar. So I have 4 units in there. We'll roll 1 die. If it's 1 through 4, we'll take 1 of that. If it's a 5 or 6, I'll just re-roll. Of course, it's a 6. Let's try again. 3. So that's this guy. This is an A6. So we've lost our A6, unfortunately. And our hangar capacity goes down to 7. All right. Now, the second hit is a 6. Critical hit. Apply results 2 through 5. So they reduce EW and air defense weapons by 1 each. So EW is here. And air defense 1. Go down 1. Reduce flight deck by 2. So that means it's a 4. Okay, 3 is eliminate 1 aircraft in the hangar. Well, we'll go 1, 2, 3. I'll just have whatever we roll here. 4, so that's 2. So we lose our, I think this is the F-14. No, this is the F-18. So we lose an F-18 as well, and reduce our hangar by another 1. Just put that there, make it easy. And then number 4 is reduce propulsion by 1. And number 5 is reduce hull by 1d6. 1. Okay, hull integrity goes to 11. So they managed to hit the Nimitz and reduced our standoff capability by a decent amount there. And we still have 1 damage left to, 1 hit left to resolve. Hopefully we roll low. We rolled another 3. This is another aircraft in the hangar. So 1 through 3 and 4 through 6. All right, so we lost our F-14 as well. That was in the hangar. That goes down again. We'll move this to 1. So yeah, they really hurt us there with that attack from their lone outer zone limits, unit rather. So now we have to do inner zone combat. Okay, so for inner zone combat, move any surviving units from the outer zone to the inner zone. So all of our units will move in here. You know, I should just leave these up here because we're not using them. Where did that go? Up here. And of course the carrier as well. So everybody's in the inner zone now. Nice crowded area there, okay? All units now in the inner zone must resolve combat repeating the entire outer zone combat procedure. Units which participated in and survived combat in the outer zone participate in the inner zone. Okay. So we get to go first again. So we will start again with our guided missile carrier, cruiser rather. We will attack the lone surface ship. So I roll 5. We got 2 hits. We got 2 6s. Whoops. Way to go. Great. It went somewhere and I can't find it. Okay, so we have 2 hits. And we'll roll the first one. That's a 3. And a 3 is damage. So we got a damage here for their 1 remaining surface ship. And we roll for the second hit. And we got a 5, which is crippled, which means that he is, well, actually, let me see. Crippled. Unit that is crippled or damaged after already being crippled is eliminated immediately. Well, do we have a crippled marker? Yes. Okay. So I'm going to put crippled on here. So that means he can't attack us. All right. So now we'll go to anti-sub, and we'll start with everybody. Well, actually, these 2 destroyers have 4s, so we'll use those first. So we'll do DD1. 2 hits. All right. Let's see what we get. I'm going to roll them both at the same time. Why not? A 6 and a 2. Well, a 6 we know is an explosion. For a submarine is an explosion, so that will kill one of these. We'll do 4, I guess, first. Okay, and the 2 doesn't get applied. Now the second ship will attack the second submarine, which also has a 4. So this is DD2, and he gets 1 hit. So we'll roll for that 1 hit. Got a 1, which is nothing. He escaped there. Then we have well, we used this guy, so he can't attack. So we'll do our frigate next. He's a 3, so we'll roll 3, and we got at least 1. Yeah, 1 hit. So 1 hit from the frigate on GN5 rather, and another 1. So that's fantastic. Now we'll go to our DDG 1 there, which has a 3. And we got 1 hit there as well. Hopefully we won't roll a 1 this time. Rolled a 3, which is submarine is withdraw. So they will leave and go back to their battle group box. And then the last one, actually we only have one ship left to attack. The Aegis cruiser, which is a 3, will attack SSGN2. And he got 2 6s, so that's 2 hits. And we'll roll again. And 2 6s, so he's destroyed. Okay, so he can't attack. So we go to victory determination. If either side has lost or sunk or eliminated, not merely damaged, crippled, or withdrawn at least half of its ships, which they did, they lost 4. It is considered to have lost the battle. It is possible for both sides to lose a battle, in which case it ends with a draw. The side that lost the battle must immediately withdraw to an adjacent space, must be closer to a friendly base. If that space is occupied by enemy warships or a battle group, select another one. If there are no such spaces, there's no withdrawal. Okay. And then we would do victory points. So we will put this guy back in here. And let me reset the shot. They have to retreat that way. I'm assuming that way. I mean, I guess they could go that way, which would probably be closer than going up here and then out like that. But it is closer to their base. So I guess that that makes sense. You know what? Let me roll a die for it. We'll roll a die. If it's even, they go this way. If it's odd, they'll go that way. It's even. So they went that way. All right. All right. So that's there. They have a crippled ship and a sub there. This will give me an opportunity to do standoff on the next turn, but I also have to move my ships back. All right, now we have to determine our victory points. So let me find the victory point table. Here we go. Okay, points gained. All right, we sank. What did we sink? We sank 3 submarines and a destroyer. So Soviet sub, SSN, GN is 4. We sank 3 of those. That gives us 12 victory points. Okay. Then we sank a destroyer, a DDG. Does that matter? I guess not. So a DD is only worth 1. So we have 13 victory points. The Soviets gain some as well. They have, let's see, U.S. carrier damaged per reduction in each category. Yikes. Okay. So we lost 2 here. That's 4. We lost 3 here. That's 10 total. 12, 14, 16, 18. 18. So we're at -6. That's terrible. That's a case of winning the battle and losing the war practically right there. They did hammer us pretty good. And we also lost some aircraft. So we lost an F-18, an F-14, and an A-6. So that's another 10. That makes us -16. I think that might mean we lose. We might have lost here. We might have lost. Let's see. This might literally have been an example of winning the game. Defeat. If the victory point level is a negative number, and it is, because it's at -16, you must roll 2 6-sided dice. If the die roll is equal or lower, you've lost the game. So because it's -16, they beat us by basically wrecking the Nimitz pretty good, even though it's still afloat and still has some combat aircraft. So I actually lost the scenario. So even though we did pretty well in beating them up, we still lost because they managed to hit the carrier 3 times and did significant damage, especially with the second hit, which rolled a critical hit and wiped out a whole bunch of stuff. And yeah, so apparently I lost. That's a little bit disappointing, to be honest. But yeah, we are obviously, I didn't even do anything with the fuel and ammo track. So what we'll do is I will do, in the next video, I will do a different scenario. We'll start over and play again. Not this scenario. Well, probably not. I'll draw something because you have a stack of mission orders here, right? So if I draw, it's a stack, and I'll just put them out and draw something. And I can do it right now, actually. So we'll just put all these out here, right? There are 6 choices. I don't have the hunt for the Typhoon in here, maybe, because I think there's more than 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, there is 7. Okay, so it is in there. So let's just pick one at random. We'll move these around a little bit. And we'll say we take this one. And it is amphibious warfare. Okay, so we'll do the next edition of Solitaire Sunday will be this game, and the mission will be amphibious warfare, which means we'll have some Marines with us. Conduct joint NATO amphibious landing behind Warsaw Pact lines. The Baltic path, which is this orange guy here at the bottom. It's 12 spaces long. So we'll start, it's an 8-turn thing. Soviets get 3 coastal defense units. Their alert level is a +2 on the DRM. Then our objective is to move our carrier battle group into the Baltic objective and land a Marine unit. We get 24, and we have to purchase the Marine unit. Makes sense. And if we win in the campaign scenario, which I didn't really talk about, but the campaign game, you can play them through and do a campaign game, and you would add one turn to the next scenario. So that is that. That is it for this mission as well, or scenario. Yeah, mission, I guess, or scenario. So that is that, and we will be moving on to something new as I lost there. So you can see how easy it is to lose, which, obviously modern warfare is pretty dangerous, and the weapon systems can do a whole lot of damage really quickly. So one lone Soviet guided missile submarine basically cost me the game by doing a bunch of damage to my to the USS Nimitz, and that is it. Game over. Maybe I'll use some optional rules in the next one. I was planning on doing probably 2, maybe 3 gameplay videos. So this was the first, of course. There will be at least one more, and as I said, it will be the amphibious warfare. I'll probably set that up ahead of time rather than going through setup again. You've seen setup if you watch that video. It'll be similar, and I'll show you what we have as we get started. So that's going to do it for now. I thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hopefully you'll consider liking, sharing, and or subscribing. If you have any comments to make, you can put them in the comment area, and I will do my best to reply. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I did make at least one mistake that I'm aware of. Hopefully, having caught that, there weren't too many other things I did wrong. But yeah, that's it for now. Thanks again for watching. I'm Joe. It's Solitaire Sunday here on the Hexed Encounter channel. And until next time, as always, happy gaming.